Solving linear inequalities is very similar to solving equations. So all that time you put in learning how to solve equations is going to come in handy. If you look at this example here, it says solve x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 1, then graph the solution. You have to solve first. I see a lot of people try to graph it from here and they draw a line, they put a 1 on it, and they go something like this. Well, that's not solving the inequality. You can't graph the solution until you have a solution. So, when we want to solve x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 1, treat it just like x plus 8 equals 1. If you had a problem like this should be a pretty simple equation for you to solve. What are we solving for? X. What do we need to get rid of? 8. It's plus 8. How do we get rid of it? Well, we minus 8 from each side. We bring down our x. Our positive 8, our negative 8, or our plus 8, minus 8 cancel out. And then 1 minus 8 or 1 plus a negative 8 is a negative 7. And normally we'd bring down our equal sign. The only difference is that it wasn't an equal sign to begin with. It was a greater than or equal to sign. So you bring down your greater than or equal to. There is one instance where that doesn't work, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So solving an inequality, an addition inequality, is the exact same way, you solve it the exact same way as you would an equation. Now, once you have solved it, and we know we're talking about all real numbers greater than or equal to negative 7, now we can graph it. Okay, so here's negative 7. Make sure you're graphing the number line correctly. I see a lot of times people try to put 6 and 5, negative 6, negative 5 to the left, and it's not. It's negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, then negative 6 and negative 5. But again, you want to write, oops, 1 or 2 on each side. Then follow your steps. Circle on the number line at negative 7. Decide if it's open or closed. Because this can be equal to, we fill it in. And we're talking about all the values greater than or equal to negative 7. And those are all these values to the right of negative 7. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. X is greater than negative 7. That's our solution and our graph. Let's look at one more example. Solve 3 is less than m minus 5. Then graph the solution. A lot of times people don't like working with the variable on the right side. And honestly, it doesn't matter. You can still solve this problem. What are we solving for? M. What do we have to get rid of? 5. Since it's minus 5, how do we get rid of it? Well, we add 5 to both sides. 3 plus 5 is 8. And we bring down our m. Our 5's cancel out. And then you bring down your inequality symbol. People don't like the looks of this, though, and that is a little bit harder to graph. So if you wanted to reverse your solution, you can. You can flip these sides flip these sides over. But remember, the tip of your inequality is always by the 8. The open part is by the m. So if you switch these around, you do have to switch your inequality. You could also do that from the start. If you didn't want to write with your variable on the right side, you want it on the left, you can do that. But you have to switch both sections just how they're written. This has to become m minus 5 and 3, and then since the open part's by the m minus 5 side, you've got to flip the inequality over. Okay? You don't have to do that, but you just have to be careful. A lot of times people will just write it backwards, or they'll just switch the sides around and not switch the inequality. Be careful of that. Because notice what happens is if we solve this inequality as well, we get m is greater than 8. And again, to graph. Circle on the number line at the number you come up with. Decide if it's open or closed. In this case, we're just talking about greater than, so we leave it open. And we're talking about all the values bigger than 8, so we draw our arrow to the right. Solving inequalities, addition and subtraction inequalities, those are the two we've done here, is basically just like solving equations. Okay, and the graphing, again, you just follow your 3 steps. Circle on the number line at the number, decide if it's open or closed, and draw your arrow in the correct direction.